very happy to welcome the four speakers. And without further ado, may I just introduce the first speaker, the Honorable Harunobu Yonenaga, who is a member of the National Diet of the Upper House in Japan, from the Democratic Party of Japan. The Honorable Yonenaga was elected as a member of the House of Councillors in 2007, and I was just telling him that the two of them look very young for members of the Japanese Diet, because in the past, to be a member of parliament in Japan, you have to be at least maybe 60 years old. Okay. So this is a new breed, and I think they're bringing new ideas and new perspective. So. Mr. Yonenaga was in the media sector, so he will be a very good speaker for us to pick up this topic.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harunobu Yonenaga. I'm representing Democratic Party of Japan, and I'm very honored to speak to you this morning. As I was introduced, I used to work for media, Fuji Television Network, as a journalist for 17 years. So my speech would rather be journalistic rather than academic. So please endure yourself to listen to my speech this morning. My overall theme would be the problems formed by Japanese education and its warning signs. That would be my overall theme. So the point of this conference is current obstacles to choice and excellence in education. And I'm supposed to look at this at a global perspective, so I'll try to do that as I can. I believe that in Japan, we need to take a slight different approach from that taken in maybe other countries in Asia. I'd like to start by outlining the problems faced by Japanese education. And following my speech, Mr. Toyama, who's also from my party, he would describe you how our new administration, Toyama administration, is facing this problem. And yesterday, in the lower house, our next fiscal annual year budget has passed. So he would be specific about our educational policies. Now, Japan's spending on education, as compared to percentage of GDP, is one of the lowest among OECD nations. And in particular, state spending on secondary and higher education is extremely low. I'd like to discuss why Japanese government has not given so much cost for secondary and higher education until now. Currently, compulsory education in Japan is only up to junior high school, which is age of 15. So education in Japan is free until only 15, but from that, parents should pay educational fees. That's the Japanese system. It's still existing today. So I would explain why this is happening, why it's not a standard to pay up until higher education. During the high economic growth in the Showa period, Japan became a nation of middle class. The whole Japanese citizenry was middle class. And following that, the middle class was capable of paying fees for their higher educations themselves. And the state didn't have to care much about paying these kids higher educations as a state. Now, so this system is up until now, but now we are facing a very serious problem, because now our society is no longer whole middle class society. Now, there's a sheet of paper I handed it out. It's white and black. Original one is colored, so it's now difficult to maybe examine. But there are bars, 2 bars each section. Now, I want first you to look at this right side of this bar on each figure. Now, this figure in the bottom is income rate. So all the way left is people with income of less than 500,000 yen. And then the next is 500 yen to 10,000 million, etc. Now, if you look at this right side of each figure, right side is representing the figure of 1984. Now, it looks like a mountain. It's almost average. Probably what is considered a higher income class is 5 million to 6 million and above. And it's rather diversified. It's very equal. I mean, it's not, it's in a, well, anyway, I want you to look at now, in the present figure, which is on the left side. The left sidebar is one of 2005. It's a recent figure. Now, the poorest, which is less than 500,000 yen, and the richest, more than 10 million yen, is the 2 most percentage grades, and all in the middle is much less. So now we can say that it's no longer a whole middle class age, but there's a sharp disparity between rich and poor. That's Japanese society now. So consequently, children from well-off households have been blessed with higher level education nowadays, while children from less fortunate households now do not have a chance to get minimum education. That's what happened in these 20 or 25 years since the age of all middle class age in the Showa period. And furthermore, those middle class people now is giving up the idea of having a child itself, because they're afraid they cannot afford for their child's education or even their life itself. So so population itself has decreased in a great range. The population increased, on the other hand, at a stroke in the baby boom following several years after World War II. So these baby boomer generation is now become a very aged generation. So now we have a Japanese society today is not only low birth rate, but together with aging people's population. So consequently, an increasing welfare costs and such sectors as medicine and nursing care is a very burden on the state. That's a Japanese society facing now. So I want to issue a warning to those of you in the developing nations of Asia currently experiencing incredible growth that issues currently facing Japan may be lying in waiting for you in the future. I believe that you should engineer a complete change of direction while you still have time in order to avoid what happened to Japan in these 25 years.